And here on the main stage, I will call Roberto Priolo and Sandrine,
Hello,
okay, from
Christopher. Hello again.
France. Hello, Roberto,
Good
and I
morning,
will pass the stage to you.
Christopher. Hello, Sandrine. Hello, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
Um, Let me introduce you. So, Sandrine from France, she has been passionate about product creation throughout her career, and her focus has been on looking for ways to create excellent products. This initially led her to Agile, and she discovered some of the limitations of that approach. And that in turn led her to Michael Ballet. And she was trained by Michael and discovered Lean. And within Lean, she found something of a surprise. So you first see and use the tools, but then you really, over time, realize that to make great products, you need to leverage the talent and creativity of the whole team. And since making that a discovery, Sandrine has become a lean advocate, let's say. So today she will be talking to us about making great products by developing human potential. So Sandrine, the stage is yours. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, it's the year 2016. Zelda is a 30-year-old marketing professional, and she's a real fashionista. She and her group of friends are fans of luxury brands, and their budget does not match their expensive tastes. So they have developed a habit of lending each other their nicest fashion items, like Chanel purses or Gucci dresses. They love those girlfriend moments exploring each other's closets. To them, it's a great way to renew their wardrobe, often and cheaply. They feel great for not engaging in wasteful consumerism. Zelda is convinced that other women must feel the same. So she decides to investigate the current trends in the fashion industry. The reused market is taking off, and secondhand services like Vinted or ThredUp are multiplying around the world. After quizzing her own network of friends, she identifies more interesting people and even potential customers. So she decides to quit her job and she creates her business, Many People. We'll call it Lux for Rent, this business. Lux for Rent is an online marketplace which existed. It doesn't exist anymore. You'll see why. But it's a peer-to-peer luxury fashion rental. And it's most already taking off in New York and London via two other startups. So Zelda reasons that the idea will take off in other towns and other countries. She creates a nice pitch and a nice deck, and she finds a few investors willing to support her new venture. She raises enough money to hire a tech consultant who can help her build the first version of her platform that you can see on the slide. When the platform is ready, she quickly finds a few clients, so she feels confidence is going to work. Unfortunately, 3 years later, the business is still not taking off. Zelda has a very hard time attracting people to open their closets, and sales are still very low. She blames it on 2 factors. First, she does not have a permanent tech expert on board, so development is quite slow, and also quality issues accumulate, and they're not getting fixed fast enough. Secondly, she's not doing enough marketing, according to her, for lack of cash, because she's not able to raise more funds. She spent most of her money on development. She's still convinced her idea is the good one, though. She just does not have the means to implement it properly. But then, when we carefully look at her customer feedback, we notice several problems that confirm it may not just be a question of tech and marketing. From the renter's point of view, for instance, there's not enough variety on the platform in terms of style and sizes. As for the closet owners, well, they fear theft and degradation of their most precious items of their wardrobe. And these are some of the few recurring problems that Zelda is facing. Then we dig a little bit further, and Zelda realizes that her clients have somewhat different expectations from hers. And she understands that her mission really may not be clear after all. Her model is closer to closet swap than a fashion shop. The more time she spends understanding her customers, using the model that you see on the slide on the left, asking herself those very specific questions with each new complaint, customer complaint. What are they really trying to do? How is their perception different from ours? And why is this a surprise to us? Well, the more obvious it becomes that there's a problem with her current business model. It seems that not enough women in the end are willing to rent their luxury items to total strangers. And the few women that Zelda has managed to convince, well, they're not really motivated by money because, well, they're already wealthy. They're just interested in doing a good deed and meeting other cool women. Zelda realizes a bit late that her idea is not viable, so she decides to explore other options. She tries to convince luxury brands and department stores to use her platform to propose sold items for rent, because this is taken off as well. But for this to work, she has to improve the platform drastically, and she also has to become a white label, which Zelda is not quite happy about. And pivoting at this time is not going to be easy because she's running out of cash. And she continues to face rejections and empty promises from investors. Finally, the COVID crisis hits, and this is the last straw. In 2021, she's out of cash. She can't even pay her debts. With a very heavy heart, she decides to liquidate Luxfront. She feels that she's wasted 5 years of her life. Zelda is a very smart woman and passionate too. Her business concept makes sense. I mean, at least on paper. But like many entrepreneurs, Zelda was so attached to her initial idea. She was so convinced of its potential that she failed to hear all the signals telling her that, well, people were not ready for it. Actually, according to former Google's UX researcher, Tomer Sharon, 86% of startup founders base their product on a personal pain. Well, it's not necessarily a bad thing, it says, but it could be bad to believe that the entire planet has this problem. And unfortunately, in many cases, they're convincing that it is so. Well, Zelda's story is not an isolated case. In fact, 90% of startups failed within 4 to 5 years of their creation. When you think that 305 million startups are created worldwide every year, well, that's a lot of wasted talent and resources. And this is the sad reality reported by several studies. And the top 3 reasons that they give are that these startups ran out of cash. They didn't find their market fit, or they got outcompeted. But these reasons, they do not explain why and how the firms got to that point. And frankly, the Silicon Valley startup culture, where any good idea can be brought to success with enough funding, is probably to blame, partly at least, or in large part. Entrepreneurs realize too late that it takes more than great storytelling, passion, and raising funds to build a successful and sustainable business. This is actually a false belief that investors spread. What they don't tell you is that they will ditch any business that is not growing fast enough. They will pressure you to double or triple your sales every year. But then they're not interested in the operational aspects of your business. That is your clients, your products, and your people. You know, this is where they would find the real opportunities for business success and growth. And this is exactly what the owner of a successful investment fund based in New York City was telling me like just a couple weeks ago. She's a new breed of investors who are leading the immoral and purely transactional approach commonly used by Silicon Valley sharks. Many entrepreneurs lack the know-how and the support to develop their products and operations efficiently. So they end up cracking under the pressure of needing to increase their company valuation as soon as possible. Actually, a study by the University of California in San Francisco, which I'm showing on the slides, shows that entrepreneurs nowadays are 50% more likely to develop some sort of mental illness or deep depression due to the nonstop pressure of continuous fundraising and having to double or triple the sales every year. Well, I believe that there is a more efficient and more humane way of building highly successful businesses. And instead of spending all of their energy raising funds and trying to reach the ambitious growth targets imposed by investors, entrepreneurs should focus more on creating great products that people want to buy today, and also build great organizations that can deliver the expected value over the long haul. And also, to ensure sustainable growth, they need to cultivate and transmit this know-how within the entire organization as it builds. It's not enough to build the capabilities, meaning procedures, processes, teams, organization, and tools to prepare the company for scale. We also need to build an environment in which everyone can contribute to improving improving the firm's products and services at their level. When a startup fails, it's generally because of one of those three reasons, or a combination of these reasons. The product does not satisfy a real need. The customer's experience is not good enough, or the firm's growth is strangled by its own processes and organization. Let's take a look at the first cause. The product does not satisfy a real need. A real need means an existing need shared by many people today. Because let's face it, your best chance of making it is to build tomorrow's solution for a problem that people have now. Moonshots require deep pockets and quite a lot of faith. Zelda found a problem and a solution that people were not ready to accept. We can also look at Zelda's dilemma through the lens of heritage and legacy. Heritage is some aspect of a product or service that most people are not ready to give up on. Legacy, on the other hand, is some aspect of the product that seems traditional in a good sense, but that people actually find old-fashioned and that is holding us back. According to you, is the phone jack on mobile phones a legacy or heritage technology? Well, there's been a debate about this lately. Apple, for instance, it seems, has taken a stand on this. They're seeing the phone jack as legacy for their products because they're favoring Bluetooth technology, so it seems. Actually, the truth is not so clear, but if we don't ask ourselves this critical question regularly, heritage, legacy, we take the risk of removing some of our product that customers are really attached to, or conversely, to keep something that is soon to become obsolete. Do you remember when Snapchat decided to move the stories function to the Discover screen, for those of you who use Snapchat? Well, they did that to display more publicity. And this completely changed the experience. It convinced many users to uninstall the app. Their shares fell 15% that quarter because of it. Well, we could say that the stories function is part of Snapchat's heritage. Any new change to its look or its positioning, needs to be carefully examined before proceeding. On the other hand, Facebook is holding on to legacy features of their website, and it's also causing them to lose users. They have become an application for boomers, the old folks. It has lost the younger generation who now prefer Instagram because this is where they can find all their favorite influencers. In this of Lux for Rent, people were not ready to give up on owning fancy clothes, and even less to rent their most precious items. Zelda was trying to change people's behaviors with funding and publicity, which is always a very risky proposition. Actually, before raising funds and building her platform, Zelda should have better defined the existing problem she was trying to resolve, and for whom, by spending more time in the field. There are several ways of doing this. Here are some of the techniques I use. I often start with an analysis of customer feedback, even when I haven't built any product yet. I read forums, product reviews, customer support logs, understand what people find really important. I showed you an example with Zelda earlier, the customer complaint analysis. It helped her realize that she was going in the wrong direction. The customer complaint analysis routine, when we started as soon as possible, acts like a periscope to view the real market conditions. Another technique I use are Gemba walks. Gemba is in the field where the value is created, in a case where the value is consumed. So the Gemba walks to observe how people resolve their problems today, and especially what emotions they feel when they do. Live My Life, customer journey mapping, and jobs to be done interviews are other tools that you can use to find a real need. Exploring the customer's world from the beginning and not just relying on data and intuition is crucial, because the key to great product design is to touch the right emotions, and emotions cannot easily be inferred from the data. If you're interested, Caroline, who's my co-author on our upcoming book, Build to Sell, tells a compelling story in our blog about how she's using these techniques to use booster adoption for a medical mobile app she's developing. After identifying a real need, Zelda should not rush into developing a full-blown app. She should test several low-budget concepts in different real-life contexts to check the appeal and the size of the market before engaging too much cash and resources upfront. She might have reached a viable solution sooner, such as a white label rental service that is, reasonable to her, or a different peer-to-peer model. This is what we call set-based design, meaning trying different concepts at the same time, then converging towards the most promising one by eliminating infeasible options. This is as opposed to point-based design, which is most common. And it implies building a solution, testing it, changing it, replacing it, and even rolling back to a previous version until a market fit is found. And we think that because we're building software, costs are low. And that changing the software is going to be cheap, so we can keep doing this endlessly. But this is a widespread misconception in the digital world, and many entrepreneurs break their teeth on this. The second cause of product failure is that although our product addresses a real need, it does not do it well. It goes from mild annoyances in the product that become the reason to fire it, to unhelpful customer service, or parts of the product either missing or even actively working against its intended job. The problem is that poor customer experiences degrade the brand and impact sales. You'll find dozens of bad customer experiences across the board. You've had many yourself, I'm sure. Social networks, on forums, reviews of mobile apps and e-commerce goods or companies are always an interesting read when you sort by lowest scores or newest. I have compiled my own anthology. A popular internet service provider called Free, a service interruption of 9 continuous days. That was my experience during those lockdown times. So I could not work, let me tell you. Their customer service was totally unable to help me. They did not provide any visibility, offer a useful countermeasure or cheap countermeasure. Atlassian products such as Jira and Confluence were completely unavailable from April 7 to April 16, 2022. I remember it very well because it impacted me quite a lot. It was unavailable for a majority of their enterprise customers. They had hard deleted their customers' data, and the design of their backups was such that they had to restore each client by hand. They left their existing clients in a bind during all that time. There's a third example, the National French Railway Company called SNCF. They revamped their online service recently, which they called SNCF Connect. But the experience got even worse, and customers temporarily lost their rail cards. Well, unfortunately, or I don't know if it's unfortunately, but a delightful customer experience is key to retaining customers and achieving growth. A wrong customer will tell 8 to 16 people about it. 1 in 5 will tell more than 20 people. A delighted customer will only tell 6 people on average. The mistake that many entrepreneurs and product designers make is that they don't put enough attention to the whole product flow. The whole product is a concept that was first introduced by Jeff Moore in his bestseller, Crossing the Chasm, back in the 90s. We must look at our product as a whole experience in different situations and not just as a product. We must look at purchasing, delivery, consumption, support, maintenance, even recycling in some cases. In the case of Locks for Rent, here on the picture, the core product is the mobile platform at the center. But the whole experience includes different moments: creating a closet, browsing the closet, contacting owners, interacting with the community, wearing the rent outfit, returning it. We need to design the whole product to ensure all these experiences are great from the user's point of view. Clients purchase complete experiences, not just a core product. For instance, we expect top-notch customer service when things go wrong with the product we purchase. In the case of Notion, Waze, and Wikipedia, the community aspect is crucial to the success of their product, even though it is not the core product. On the contrary, Uber does not take good enough care of its community of drivers, and this has a negative impact on its customer experience and reputation. Designing continuously improving customer experiences instead of just adding new features to the core product is a better strategy, because customer satisfaction is the main driver of growth. We're seeing remarkable feats from companies who manage to provide great experiences from A to Z. One very good example is Captain Train. That used to be a French startup that made it possible to get a train ticket in just a few minutes from your mobile phone. The competing application from public-funded SNCF at that time was clunky, slow, and unreliable. Captain Train has been praised for their customer service, went above and beyond to take care of customers when something went wrong. They even wrote a book about it. Well, Captain Train was acquired by Trainline in 2016 for $189 million. To create great customer experiences, we need to design the whole product, not just the core product. We need to improve customer experiences and not just add features to the core product. And we need to set up a space for collecting and analyzing customer feedback as a team every day to better understand what is really important to customers. There's a third common cause of product failure, that the company growth is strangled by its own processes and organization. This happens once the company has found a market is growing. The real challenge of startups at this stage is to scale fast while keeping excellence in execution and delivery. After a company has managed to find a market fit, they get ready to scale up. This is when problems appear. They build capabilities as fast as possible to satisfy the growing demand. And in the process, they rigidify the organization, making it a lot less resilient to change. This is what Michael Bell and his co-authors in his Scalable strategy call the iron law of scale-ups, which we see on the graph. Slow down after fast growth is inevitable, so we need to plan for this from the beginning to avoid the death phase. Every company is destined to catch what we call the big company disease as it scales. This is a concept that was introduced in the Lean strategy. As demand grows, organization grows fast and complexity sets in. People are seen more and more as disposable assets, more so than valued contributors. Functional silos emerge a little bit everywhere, everyone with their own agenda, and managers are hired to make people comply with the processes and the procedures. Well, in this context, the customer is no longer at the center and people stop collaborating efficiently. Costly problems are hidden in all this bureaucracy and are mostly ignored. People file all sorts of quality issues, delivery slows down, managers spend their time, then their days putting out fires, and people end up burning out. This becomes a real problem for the business when it starts affecting sales. When his company reached about 10 to 15 employees, John, the founder of a successful digital marketing agency called JV Web, he felt the need to standardize work, of course, and create new procedures to be able to reach the 15% growth that was imposed by his partners. But this had the opposite effect. Operations became rigid, and after 4 years of fast growth, John felt overwhelmed with problems coming from clients and employees. In his mind, getting more clients meant having more problems. As he was getting close to burnout, well, he decided to stop growth. Alex, the founder of Resi, that is UK's #1 residential renovation online service, experienced a similar situation. The London market for renovation, for extension, huge, and her business grew very fast in a couple of years. They implemented an innovative digital platform and standardized processes for interacting with clients and managing house extension projects. But when the company reached about 90 to 100 employees, Alex realized that she'd been battling with too many problems for too long, and it was taking its toll on her and on other people in the company. Their extension projects were not as simple and stress-free as they were advertising on their website, she realized. They received complaints from customers of delays and lower design quality, and these problems were starting to have an impact on the company's growth. Well, when problems appear and execution falters, the knee-jerk reaction is often to create even more rigid procedures, launch reorgs, or fire the manager. However, these responses are counterproductive because they don't address the real problems the business is facing. That is, it's catching the big company diseases, and we're only making it worse. For one, processes and procedures become obsolete as soon as they've been engineered because there are so many new problems that appear every day, and the processes that don't account for them. Secondly, the more we try to control people through rigid processes and management, the less they're prepared to adapt to new problems and come up with creative solutions. As for reorgs, they're aimed to improve communication and collaboration, but often they do not reach that goal. They can take, it's very complicated, they take forever to put in place, and it's always very traumatizing for people. A better approach is to promote learning and agility inside the organization. This implies changing the environment to visualize problems and providing spaces and support for teams to tackle them in a creative manner. Excellence in delivery and execution is about maintaining high quality while engineering a self-supporting system which allows different people in the company to work seamlessly to get together. And this is exactly what TPS, the Thinking People System, is all about. John and Alex looked for ways to get themselves out of their stressful situation, and they found a response in Lean. They both have learned TPS to visualize the flow of their customer requests, use Kanban systems to spot problems early. They have implemented chains of help with end-on system to resolve problems faster, the picture on the right. And then they have set up chains of mentoring and taught people scientific problem solving to improve quality, value, and speed of delivery. For instance, one really important change that Alex did from the beginning was to start measuring customer project lead time with the goal of improving the complete customer journey and not just measure the productivity of individual processes in isolation, which is what they were doing. Alex was amazed by what she discovered with this simple change. Some customers had been waiting for over a year. This changed everybody's point of view in the company about what was important and which problems to tackle first. She built Kanbans to visualize end-to-end projects. This is what we see on top and at the top on the picture. Teams would systematically start their day discussing the oldest project first, and they had to find creative ways to complete it before moving to the next. Then they trained teams to solve customer problems much faster and learn from each one to improve their own methods. This is the table that you see at the bottom of the screen. Both Alex and John are now reaping the benefits in terms of improved operational efficiency, customer satisfaction, and people engagement. They continue to have problems, but now, well, they have a system to handle them better with people. They also have reduced their stress level. For John, he has resumed his company growth. He recently acquired a new company and is now training the CEO on TPS. In summary, business success stems from a combination of three factors: building products which satisfy real needs with innovative solutions, designing great end-to-end customer experiences in different situations, and developing learning and agile organizations able to tackle new problems fast. With this approach, I strongly believe that we can build better products and successful companies while respecting human values. If you would like to continue this exciting discussion, well, feel free to reach out via our blog here, buildtosell.org, or contact me via my email. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sandrine. This was great. I think people enjoyed it. I've been reading comments. It was great delivery, very lively, very engaging. Thank you so much for sharing your experience. Over to you, Thompson.
Thank you. Thank you, Sandrine. Thank you, Roberto.